In the world of programming, organizing your code efficiently is key to create powerful, scalable, and reliable applications. Whether you're building a small script or a full-scale application, classes are just that, a blueprint to create efficient, reusable components. In this video, we will break down what classes are, why are they so important, and how do they work. So we will be using JavaScript as usual, just because this is a very accessible language, and so we don't have to dig too deep into the various languages. But whether you're using C#, Python, Java, just understand that the concept will be the same. So don't get taken over by the language itself in here. What matters is really the concept. Once you grasp the concept, we will be able to adapt this to any language going forward. So also I wanted to add that in this video, we will be adding a few keywords that may sound scary at first, like object-oriented programming and encapsulation, polymorphism, keywords of that nature that may sound very scary at first. But I think they're important to at least start talking about those things. And I'm going to make sure that I'm going to keep it as easy as possible. So don't get scared.
That's exactly what I was scared about. These big words, polymorph, inheritance. It sounds so hard, man. That's why they want to do programming.
Yeah, they sound scary, but they really aren't. Their definition is going to be explained throughout this video, and we're going to make it as clear as possible. Before we get started, shout out to today's sponsor, SlickyBlocks. SlickyBlocks is an in-house product that me and my team have been passionately working for the past 3 years. And it's not just a regular website builder. It's a complete solution developed and designed to help your small and medium-sized business thrive at a low cost. Your SlickyBlocks, you can seamlessly create a professional website using our AI-powered generator, add your product and services, and even set up subscription or donations with ease. But that's just the beginning. Connect your social media feeds directly to your site, manage your shipping effortlessly, and utilize our marketing tools to boost your website's ranking. Whether it's custom emails, newsletters, or powerful analytics, SlickyBlocks provides everything you need to maximize your audience and thrive sales. SlickyBlocks, empowering your business to succeed online. So we are going to start with creating a simple person class. Okay, so in JavaScript, it's going to be straightforward. Class person. Okay, and we're going to open close brackets, and we just have defined a person class. Now, this class person, you remember, is a blueprint of some kind of behavior that we want to control within this class, and we may want to even extend this behavior to other classes that may share the same kind of behavior, but may have more things to add to it. Okay, so that's why I just picked person to start with, and maybe we're going to go through an example where we're going to create an extension of this person, like a man a person class, and maybe a woman person class, and we'll just leave it at that for now. So the other concept that you have to understand is when it relates to classes, and it's true for pretty much every programming language that holds true to object-oriented programming, you will have this concept of constructor. Okay, constructor, and what it does is basically an option to feed data or initialize data to this class whenever you're going to create a new instance of this object. Okay, so for this example, let's just put that this person has a name and an age. Okay, and that's it. And we do with this, we're going to basically create something else. Okay, we're going to create how can I call it, hidden fields that are non-accessible to the outside of this class. I'm going to come back to this in a few. So I'm going to say that purposely for the sake of this, we're going to put a capital N, which I would never do here, at least for JavaScript. We're going to pass a name, capital N, capital H here. And what we want to do is we want to give this class this instance of this object, whatever data is coming from the constructor. So what we do is we'll do this. This refers to the class person itself. So it's the person that you're creating right now, dot name. And this here only mentions that it's going to be a hidden field, basically not accessible from the outside. It's going to be equal to this capital N-A-M-E here. And same thing for the age. This dot age will be equal to this age field that's been fed to me. And that's it. You have your first class. This is not much here, but you have your first class. Given you have no functions, nothing you can really do with it. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a function called describe. Okay? And that can be anything, really. It's just, I call it describe, you call it print, whatever you want. Okay? And all we're going to be doing is we're going to return the fields that we just described. So we know we have a name, just to verify that we got the correct name. Okay? So we're going to just say name is whatever the age is, right? So we're just going to copy the age here. And I do recommend copy paste, by the way. This is a good practice. Avoid mistakes and misspellings. Okay? Years old. So basically what I just did is this function describe in here will return. So if you pass the name here, John is, and the age is 20 years old. Okay? So you just follow the logic. Okay? Then all we have to do here is just create a constant. Let's just use what is supposed to be. Constant John will not change, so constant John is constant John. So let's give it a name. Okay? Equal a new person. And remember the constructor? It's a special function. Constructor basically comes back to this constructor here. So it expects a name and an age. So obviously we know the name, in this case, is John. And the age, let's make it 33. Okay? That's it. I created a function, John 33. Now, what I can do, I can say John.describe, because this function has access to this function describe. Describe. Okay? And this will return me the sentence. Okay, so how are we going to test this now? Because, yeah, it doesn't look like we have much. So what I'm going to do is, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to use jQuery to make this a little bit easier. I'm going to go to the JavaScript settings in here, and I have the option to add libraries. So just to make this very quick and simple, I'm just adding jQuery. Okay, done. Then I'm going to go to the HTML in here. Let me just do a basic HTML page. We'll have the HTML tag. Go to the end, and we're going to do the /HTML tag. And then we'll do a body tag, where the body will be. We're not focused on the CSS in here. That's why this is not important. All that matters is to understand the concept of classes. Okay? Then let's create a div. And let's call it equal example1. Okay? And div. Okay? So straightforward. We have an example1. And we want to just show the result that's being called in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, I'm going to use jQuery. That's why I downloaded the library. And we're going to say that the element example1, right? I just copy and paste, see? And I'm referring to this by ID. So example1.text, the text that's going to be in the middle here will be coming from this. So I can just move it here, okay? So example1.text will be whatever the description from the John's class describe function is returning, okay? All right, so let's save. And let's just make sure that we didn't make any mistakes. We did not. And we can see here, John is 33 years old, okay? John is 33 years old. That's exactly what I said. If I wanted to redo this and make it, I don't know, 38, and I want to change John Smith, okay? and we'll just say John is, or John, yeah, sorry, John is 38 years old. Okay. Easy, clear. I think this hopefully explains to you what's going on. So now, what happened to the name in here? This is a different, another question, right? Let me just go back and say, John, I want to change the name. I want to change the age. So if I look at the field here, it says, oh yeah, this is just that field here. I should be able to access it and do that. And I'm going to say John is, I don't know, 55, okay? Now, okay, let me actually put this before, okay? It's hard to see errors in here, but that doesn't work. Nothing is working. That's weird. I thought this is gonna work, right? Nah, it's not gonna work because remember what I said. We have this process of encapsulation. We're encapsulating the data, we're hiding the data so that we don't want somebody to do that. Once you create this person, right, you cannot change it unless you use a provided function that allows you to doing it, okay? So say that you're not allowed to change your name. At this point, really, I cannot change the name. They have no function, no mechanism in place in this function to modify the name. That could be a great thing for security purposes, for instance, okay? You're not allowed to change it, then you're not allowed to change it. If you create a person and the name is John Smith and it's 38 years old, that is one thing you cannot do, okay? So let's come back to this keyword I just talked about, encapsulation. It's not that hard. Encapsulation, okay? It's basically the idea that we are able to hide data or restrict access to some data, okay? But that doesn't mean that we're done and we can never change the age. So if I made a mistake at the beginning, I can say, you know what, I'm gonna create a function for you that says update age, okay? And that's a function, update age, okay? And what it takes is a new age, okay? And we can be naive, okay? And just for the sake of this simple example, we'll just take it as is, okay? Equal to the new age. This is not something I recommend. I recommend to create a few if statements, right? So the first thing is it cannot be more than, you know, I don't know, 150 years, for instance, okay? It cannot be less, it cannot be a negative, it cannot be less than 0, right? Not less than 0. So I'm just giving you examples in here. These are not relevant to the definition of classes encapsulation, but they are just relevant to, in general, you have to have verification of what you're going to be doing, okay? Same thing at this level. When I did the constructor here, I should have checked whether or not the name was a real name, valid name to some degree, and the age was a number. It was not a decimal, and that it wasn't a crazy number. So we can create a function here, like a hidden function, which we're going to be doing in a few seconds, where we can actually verify information before we just accept it, okay? So just for now, for this step here, let's keep this out, and we're just going to say that this age will be equal to whatever new age we enter. So now we're able to change it, and we should be able to describe it again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just create another example field. Okay, example 2. And what we did is this will not work. Okay, so instead, what we're going to do is we're going to copy this. Okay, and we're going to do a example 2 this time. We're going to get the new value after we do John dot update age 55. Okay, so there was an error. We're allowing for this to happen. Okay, and 55, and we should be able to see it right away. Okay, so first John was 38 because he was created with at 38 years old, and we described it. Then we changed the function to update the age, and we can see that this function is accessible, and we were able to change the age, and we can see it on the screen now. What if I made this function hidden? Okay, what if I say I'm going to encapsulate this out of your accesses? I'm not going to give you this permit. Okay, then even if I say update age and I put the character here, nothing happened. It will never show. Actually, the whole thing is breaking apart because you're not allowed to call a function that's hidden. Okay, and this function does not exist. So this knock-on error just doesn't do anything, and you have nothing to show for on the second statement. Okay, so we're not going to hide this. We're going to keep it here. Okay, so this was the idea behind encapsulation in classes. Very important concept. The next one we're going to be talking about is the idea of polymorphism. Okay, another hard word to remember, but really at the end of the day, this is a pretty straightforward action. So we have this class person, okay? Straightforward, we know what it does. We know it has a couple functions. Everything is working pretty good. I'm going to create a new class, okay? And we're going to call this class woman, okay? A woman is a person. So it extends the person class, and I forgot to make it capital. It's just a good practice, all right? And so this extends the person function. What does that mean? It means that basically anything that exists in person already exists in this woman, and I can add on to it, okay? So a person was very generic, but maybe there are things that a woman will do better than just a regular person, or will do that a regular person cannot be added. So we'll walk through this example. So right now, John is John, everything is good. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a new person. I'm going to call it Amy, okay? Okay, Amy is not a person. We're going to make Amy a woman. Okay, and it's going to look the same. Nothing's going to, so this is Amy, right? And she is 23, okay? And I'm going to go to example 3, okay? Because we don't want to lose what we did so far. I think this is a good example. So we're going to go to example 3. We're going to go to example 3, and we're going to say that Amy, show me what Amy's description. Okay? So I'm going to look at Amy's description. Even though she's a woman, Amy is still using the same extensions as person. So the describe function is working as is. If I wanted to change the age, it would work the same. And we have not added anything special to the woman class right now. What if you wanted to change it slightly and say, okay, well, that's great. I'm glad that she's a person, but I want to do more things with women than I want to do just with a regular person. Let's just pretend that because she's a person, I mean, a person was just neutral. We did not know if it was a man or female, male or female. So let's say that in the case of a woman, I wanted to give her a set of actions that a person does not have. So for instance, we're going to create a function for women that allows them to describe a job, okay? So we wanted to add something hidden, again, why not, where we can add a job. We can do it two ways, but let's keep it like this. So I added a hidden property called job, okay, that the person does not have, okay? And I'm going to create a new, actually, I'm going to do this action of what I call polymorphism, because I'm going to reuse the same function call, okay, describe, okay? But now I'm overriding the original describe function from the person class, and I'm going to override it into the woman's class, okay? And I'm in this example, instead of just returning what I used to return, I want to return what I had before. So I say, you know, I don't want to rewrite everything. You know, it could have been pretty complicated. I'm going to use the new keyword called super, okay? I'm going to say super dot, that refers back to the original person, describe. If I just do this, describe, okay, then basically I haven't done anything. I'm just using the new as the old, right? And super refers to the version of woman, that's the person, okay, and whatever function that it has access to. And I'm just going to describe the original, and I'll make sure that I've returned that, by the way. Okay, and then I'll have the same result here. Just save. Okay, and I see that Amy is still 23 years old. But now I want to add the job. I want to add this plus and works at whatever job, works as a, and whatever the job description is going to be, okay? I'm not going to enter this yet because though I define that I have an attribute, a new attribute of woman to have a job that didn't exist at the person level, I have no way to enter this. I was like, oh, but my constructor was designed for 2 parameters. How am I going to add this one? Well, it's actually easy. We just have to define a new constructor at this level where we're going to say, okay, we're going to have the same as before. We're going to have the name. We're going to have the age. And now we're going to have the job, okay? And the first thing I'm going to say, okay, well, I can use the super, okay, constructor, where I'm going to enter the name and the job and the age, sorry, because that's what I had in the original, right? If I look at the super, just think of the constructor that's here, okay? That's what I'm saying. It's like, okay, just this is your constructor, okay? And I'm going to say also that this dot job, the hidden job, will be equal to this variable job that's provided to me here, okay? So now I have a job. The job is definitely loaded, okay? And all I have to do here is, I can do it this way, and I can do plus the job. And I can even add to it job. Yeah, I didn't provide it yet, so hold on. Plus, okay, a little bit ugly here, but it will work, okay? So now when I'm declaring the woman, I have a new constructor that also has an option to enter a job. So maybe she's an engineer or a software developer, okay? And now that this data has been added in here, it will show up in here. Okay, so polymorphism is the idea that you can reuse the same exact function name described. Look, I didn't change anything. My code here in another function used by a third party, by a client, by my front end, has not changed. Remember that this is not supposed to all be on the same page, right? This is supposed to be used, whatever you're going to be using this. And the above here will be a library that you can reuse throughout, you know, the life cycle of your object, of your project or multiple projects. Maybe you create libraries to reuse where you're creating shapes, creating security rules, whatever the subject matter is. It's just the idea that you want to reuse these functions, these classes over time. You don't want to have to change the code that you wrote in another place in your code. You want to make sure that all this logic is kept there. So if I change in here the wording in here, instead of saying, you know, name of that person is whatever years old, if you wanted to write it differently, you say, His Majesty, for instance, right? Majesty John is blah, blah, blah. Then all of a sudden it shows up everywhere automatically. You had nothing to change in the usability version of your code. Okay, that's the beauty of classes, okay? Is the idea that you can centralize your code in one place and use it whatever you need. It could be a huge project with thousands and thousands of places where you're going to be using this class. And at the end of the day, any logic change that you make in the class will go through all of these applications at once without you having to go back to the applications and change the code or change anything like it, hopefully. Okay, so I could do the same thing for a man here, and it could be an extension of a person, it could be the extension of a woman. You know, if you wanted to add something else on top of it, it may not be the best example in here, but the idea is the same, that you can have a shape, for instance, as your base class, right? And then you can add onto it specific versions of different shapes. You can have, like for instance, maybe a rectangle, and then you can extend that to a square where the size are the same. You get the idea, okay? So this is encapsulation, polymorphisms, okay? So the concept of inheritance, it's the concept that you can grab or inherit properties, like we saw, public or private, properties or functions, or even constructors, into your extended version. So this is the concept of inheritance, okay? So at the end of the day, see, these concepts are not that difficult. You just have to understand what they mean. So I don't want to create another example of, I don't know, maybe a man that extends a person, and then we have maybe an older person, older woman that extends the woman, so maybe we have to add extra things. So we could do this. But at the end of the day, it's the same exact idea, right? We are inheriting properties from the person into the subsequent classes. And so person does not inherit anything, but it gets inherited, it gets extended, okay? The keyword encapsulation is that we are able to hide, privatize, or publicize data, and we have full control over it because this is our function, this is our class, and we can do whatever we want with it. And the idea of polymorphism is the idea that we can override functions, functionality, right? We're using the same exact word, the same exact signatures, but the code knows exactly what it means, okay? So a couple keywords, like I said, constructor, super, these are very specific to JavaScript, but it exists in every other language. In C# we'll say base, dot, for instance. We won't have a constructor keyword like this. We'll have, it will be just the same name as the class name. So it'll be like woman, and then you'll pass whatever features. But this is the same ID, right? Java has the same ID. Python has the same ID. PHP, ASP, the old ASP. So it doesn't matter what language you use. The system, the logic of classes is really the same. So I hope that this video was clear. It gave you a good understanding on what classes are and how they can be used and how they will help your code get better, cleaner, more efficient, reusable, reliable. Because when you're starting to program, you're just concerned about getting things to work. And that should not be just the only concern. The true concern will be how to keep this code clear and reusable. Because if you can reuse the code, then you will be able to get a better quality project overall, because things happen, requirements do change, or just running tests, sometimes things are failing in some conditions. So it's very easy for you to go back to the class and modify the source one and just change whatever you want, okay? So I hope that this video was helpful. If I forgot to mention anything, or if I wasn't clear about something, went a little bit too fast, don't forget to send me a comment in the description below. I will take care of it, I will review it, and maybe I'll make amendments to the next video about it. I want to also thank Sticky Blocks for sponsoring this video, and thank you for watching this video till now. So if you liked the content in this video, please don't forget to like or subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye.